And nice. The author in you, is that just from you or family or anything like that?
No, that's just from
no
me.
Creative background in the...
Yeah, I mean, my dad's a carpenter. That's
right.
Really...
There you go.
This didn't, like I say, it didn't start off as a book. It was a kind of... It was a bit of a therapy, really. It was once it had happened, I had a website off the back of what I was doing with the MLM.
Right, okay.
That was like beauty and, a bit of blogging and stuff. And I just decided to write about what happened to me.
The experience.
Yeah. And then as I was getting through the story, I thought, you know what, this actually might make a decent book,
Because you mentioned your sister, you dedicated at the beginning to...
Well, my sister and my husband have got the dedication. When I told Daniela, I said, I wrote that book ages ago and then I kind of shelved it and then I kind of found it. And she said, yeah. And I went, well, I sent it to a publisher and we were sort of walking along a road, a high street, and I said, and they really liked it and they're going to publish it. And she literally, she did like a kind of rugby squat and she just went, oh my God, that's amazing. And she sort of started almost welling up. And I went, all right, Dan, calm down. People are watching us here, carry on walking, She said, don't you, that's such a big deal. And I went, oh, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'm happy. But everyone seems to be really excited about this, but I'm still very much at the phase of I've written this. I think it's because it's my story, and it's not a happy story, so I don't see. It's not that I don't see it as something to be happy about, but I mean, I just want it to help someone.
But it's getting it out there.
It's getting it out there. Yeah, it's getting it out there.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask you, for people who don't know the story in sort of snapshot, how many years? How did you come in?
Because it only came out today.
What was the worst, and how did it get out?
So I got involved in 2018. So this was about September, October time, 2018, that I was introduced, and then I didn't thoroughly join the MLM until January 2019.
Okay.
But I was introduced to it. I was being involved in it, but I didn't actually fully sign up for it until because I left my job. I was dedicated to it. I wanted to make it work. I wanted it to be a success, and I think.
So, what was it convinced you that it was worth a punt?
Well, with these sort of things, it always comes from a friend or family member
who's already in.
Yeah. So it's that trust element. If somebody's telling you, well, I'm making really good money off of this, I don't work. I work. This was before work from home became a thing. This was, well, I'm working from home. I just need my laptop. I just need my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm making money, and this is great. And I'm going to take you to this talk where the girl giving the talk, I mean, she's on like 19k a month. You're hearing all these figures and you're like, really? My God, what is this? I mean, geez, it sounds almost too good to be true. But it's, but you've got a friend, you've got a family member who's telling you how great this is. So why would you not trust, in my family, I'm from an Italian background, you trust your family, they're going to look out for you, there'd be repercussions if somebody tried to scam you or do you harm. So there was that level of trust. And I guess with me also, I was unhappy in the job I was in,
what was that?
I was an administrator for an educational establishment, and I was looking for, I was living in a new area. I didn't have any friends in that area, so it's almost like they find that chink in your armour. They find that weakness where you're maybe a little bit lonely, you're a little bit unhappy, and that's what they prey on. They sort of grab you in that way. And the thing is, it's like when I talk to people about it, maybe it's a paranoia thing with me, but I'm almost kind of seeing in your eyes and in your face, like, God, how could she have fallen for that? I mean, Jesus,
actually, the opposite, because once upon a time, the godfather of my eldest son got involved with Amway.
I hear of Amway, yeah.
Which is almost like the mega daddy of pyramid selling.
I've heard their name.
And I went to his wedding in Charlotte, in South Carolina, and it was lavish. And then I went to where he'd set up his matrimonial home, which was in Richmond, Virginia, which was palatial, to say the least.
Wow.
And he was double diamond Amway And
what does that even mean?
Yeah, what is it?
Double diamond. I mean,
it meant that his turnover was more than a certain amount, and he was bringing in $20,000 a week. And he left a job where I met him at Salomon Brothers, which is a trading house on Wall Street, to go and do Amway.
Yeah.
So I'm actually almost convinced, because 2 or 3 people that I was very close to for a while have made their fortunes. Amway is like it's almost like an Argos of combined sort of liquid chemical and associated pharmaceutical products, and they have their own brand, and they were manufacturing.
But there's
themselves.
all sorts. There's ones that do essential oils. There's one that we all know the Tupperware. We all know the makeup.
Well, my mum did Tupperware.
You know the leg. Yeah, that was one of the first, I think, wasn't it? Yeah.
And you had Avon, but it wasn't wasn't so much like layered marketing. It was more, here's a catalogue, plod the streets, and get 20% commission on what you sell.
I mean, my auntie did Tupperware back in the day.
So there
in Italy.
you could see that it was purely you eat what you kill sort of thing. Yeah. And my mum did Tupperware, and I think a lot of people did Avon.
Yeah, I mean, Avon was massive.
But then it was the first time was when the idea of this multi-layered marketing is where, as you progress through this, pretend family, you are getting more and more people whose comms effectively roll up to you. Yeah,
it's the pyramid. Basically, it's the pyramid.
So you get 5 or 6 layers, and you could have potentially 500 people all out there doing the hard yards, whilst you sit there, flying on Concorde.
And it's the sort of 3-4% at the top. That are, like you say, raking it in, but it's all the ones at the bottom that really and truthfully.
Water purifiers I've seen.
Oh, there's everything, But the leggings.
In fact, I saw one of those, I think, over in Welling Garden City, funnily enough.
Oh, yeah.
But the people that bring you in, they must be convinced on it, or are they in on it?
Convinced. Brainwashed is the term I would use.
Okay.
It's there's such a massive level of brainwashing, and I didn't really realise it until I left. And then it starts to do, and that's where then the shame comes in and the guilt. Okay. And then that's why people don't talk about it, because you feel like an idiot. You feel like a fool.
Is that that's how you felt?
Yeah, I felt so stupid. I literally felt so stupid. And there was a period of time when I left where I actually went away for 5 days on my own on holiday. I took myself off to Barcelona. I had to kind of get away from everyone. I needed to get away from the noise of everyone. And I was walking down the street in Barcelona, and all of a sudden I just burst into tears. Like it was like, it sort of just dawned on me what I'd been through, and even now, if I'm at home and my husband and I are watching a documentary on cults or on anything like that where people have been scammed, and I know and I say it in the book,
do you feel
my husband's not a malicious person?
A scam victim? Then?
I feel like I've been scammed, absolutely. Okay. But the brainwashing more so than anything. And he'll turn to me and say, God, how stupid could these people be? Hey, how stupid could you be to fall for something like that? And I know he doesn't mean to say it to me, but I will literally, like a ball of anger just wells up inside me, because I think to myself, until you've been there, until you've been through it, you don't know. You really don't know. And it's so easy for people to say, God, how could you be so stupid?
Yeah, of course.
How could you fall for that? But until you've fallen for a scam,
but everybody has fallen for somebody somewhere.
Then you
all
just
of us
don't
have.
know.
All of us have made mistakes.
And the brainwashing is very, very sophisticated, and the love bombing, that term, where you're completely love bombed all the time.
Love bombed.
And don't forget, I mean, I was fortunate. I didn't go through it. I wasn't involved for very long. But you've got people that have been involved with these things for 10 years, for longer than 10. I know people, they're still doing it with the company that I was involved with.
Still.
And they were there before I even joined for years, for 5 odd years. So they're in there for like 15 years. Now, can you imagine every day?
Yeah. So what was your start to finish sort of timeline?
It was about 6 months.
Right.
So not long, not long at all. And there might be people that will read my book and think, well, God, she was only in it for but trust me, it's intense. It's every single day. It's constant. You sort of live and breathe it all the time.
Was there a turning point, like something that triggered you going enough on
Well, I had done a sort of, they call it pamper parties, and I wanted to call it a product launch, where I had products at home, and I invited people to come, and it was a way of me introducing them to what I was doing, and obviously try and sign people up, and that day, well, we had been told about it a few days before. There was a documentary airing on the BBC about the company I was involved with.
Oh, right, okay.
And there'd been a massive kind of panic about it amongst the team that was, on my
elites.
Chat, and all the people that were involved.
Is the company name?
No, I've changed the name.
I was going to say, presumably...
I was advised to make legally. Sure I changed. I mean, on social media, when you're on Instagram, people are openly talking about the companies they were involved with. But again, I put it in a book and I changed the names of the people involved. Again, I don't have their permission to talk about them, so I needed to be careful, let's say.
The solicitor advised you on that?
Well, my publisher.
And
I also thought it was wise.
No, definitely, yeah.
Once I've got enough money to fight legal battles, they'll see about it.
But a solicitor would probably encourage you to do it. They'd see a fee at the end of it, wouldn't they? But then there's my cynicism coming out again.
But I didn't want to take the risk.
What was the nature of the product?
So it was beauty products and supplements as well. So beauty supplements.
Steve Jr. got involved in one of those.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, when you mentioned Barcelona.
So you're so already, people that you know.
I would say there's half a dozen people in my family tree.
Really? But even now,
who have dabbled. No, most of them have gone. You know, Steve Jr. He's now a debt collector. He kind of saw the light.
Yeah. Well, when would that have been?
That would have been maybe. It was pre-COVID.
Yeah.
It would have been. I think he even went out to. You mentioned Barcelona there. I think he went out to a conference.
Well, no,
a couple of times out there. But
there was
I know
a
you were
success
just
summit set for somewhere in Spain that I had booked.
Summit.
Yeah. When even now, like I hear things now, and I'm my eye rolling has become my thing. I literally
went down to that hotel in Heathrow with those
socks one
for socks and inserts.
What's that called? Vox, I think it was.
Vox, it was.
And
it was
so
Vox.
We really experienced
It's
it
massive.
because it was. There must have been.
It was quasi-religious.
That was really religious, the chanting.
They use the techniques. Use the technique. I mean, a lot of these companies, they stem from is it Utah in the States, where you have isn't it Scientology and things like that come from? They use all the same sort of techniques.
Wow.
Well, I've been scammed in probably 3 or 4 states in America. Me and Hazel, my wife.
I shouldn't laugh. I'm laughing.
No. But I mean, But as you say, when you're in it, you don't see it.
No.
It's only when you look back.
Yeah.
And then that's where all those sort of sadder emotions come out. But we went to Vegas once upon a time, and we had 5 hours left before we were leaving Vegas to go on to San Francisco on a honeymoon, I think. And we said, and the people were trying to drag you into timeshare. And it was like, we'll give you $200 of chips to use in the casino. Jeez. So we said, what's the worst that can happen? And the worst that can happen was we bought one.
Oh, no.
Within 45 minutes, and they were ringing the bell, and it was well done, and woo, and it was like, then you get home and you go, why did we do that?
I can't.
Timeshare in Vegas.
Someone tried to. I shouldn't really laugh because
we're laughing. But
someone tried to sue me, and I just went wrong state.
In a way, it's good that we can laugh about it because at the time I wasn't laughing. I was crying. I wasn't laughing at all.
I'm not just. All of this is factually true. So maybe one other day. Well, we've always thought about a book. Our 10 years together.
Oh God.
But there would be. The publisher might get a little bit wary of some of the things in it, but I was really just sort of just like picking things out of the memory bank, showing that everybody is capable of making mistakes, no matter how.
I mean, they happen all the time. People are being scammed every day, left, right, and centre. You see programs, dedicated to trying to, tell people how not to get scammed. We constantly get emails, don't we, from the banks? Don't fall for this. Make sure you don't do that. And this is one of the oldest ones going, and the sad thing is it's still going. It's still happening,
won't go.
And it will because they will change. So it went from pyramid scheme, that became illegal to use that term. They then went into multi-level marketing, introduced the product, because then it's not just about recruitment, it's about your focus is on the product. You're selling a product, people are buying the product, therefore they get through that loophole.
But it is quite difficult to protect everybody from themselves. Because, especially when you're led by donkeys like we are in the UK, where you've got a government that is effectively borrowed 20 billion last month, of which 16 billion was to repay interest. Now, in normal terms, that's a Ponzi scheme. But because it's a government, you're not allowed to say it. So the government is doing worse than we've ever done.
Yeah.
But, you might want to cut that one just in case Rachel's watching. But I was staggered when I saw those numbers this week. But
you were saying that you had everyone round and there was a product launch. And
so it was a I refused to call it Pamper Party because it just sounded too immature.
I prefer
for my
Success
liking.
Summit anyway.
But
I'm
the
already
Success
saving
Summit
up for mine.
That's the bigger thing. That's the bigger thing. I had bought my ticket for that. I'd booked the flight, and I was going to this Success Summit in Spain. I was doing that.
So in boring accounting terms, because that's technically what we do here, can you put a number on financially? Did you quantify a loss, or was it more
I lost. I mean, luckily I didn't borrow.
Loss?
I didn't get into debt because I had savings. But I put a dent in the savings. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. I mean, I won't say a figure.
No.
But I put a dent in the savings.
Small car or terraced house?
Well, I don't know how much
Derby?
cars are. I have no. It depends on what car. And is it second hand? Is it new? Is it?
Wow.
But
Did it have a comma? Did it have a comma?
It was with the success. I mean, I sold the ticket. I got money back for that.
Okay.
So it's not like, and I managed to sell the stock I had as well, the product stock. I managed to get that sent back. I put in the book how I got around that, but I managed to get that sold. So I kind of clawed back a little bit. But I dipped into my savings. Don't forget, I wasn't working.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying about the opportunity cost. For 6 months,
but make money. You know how much? So in the 6 months, I sold one of the face cleansing devices. I made £40, and what did I do? I flogged shampoo at a funeral. That was one of the lowest points. I made maybe £6 off that.
Okay.
That was about it,
really. Really?
Yeah.
And did you believe the people that were saying they were making 19?
Yeah.
And do you think that was true?
I actually believed them when Sarah was telling me she was buying stuff. I could see her on social media doing, and I was such a, what was it? What's the saying? Is it wet behind the ears or something?
Yeah.
When it came to social media, I was totally new to Instagram and stuff like that. I was always late to the party when it came to social media, so I didn't realise how manipulative it was, how fake it was. I didn't see all of that. I'm seeing Sarah going to a car lot or whatever, car dealership, and saying she was now hiring a Mercedes. How are you paying for that?
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? And obviously in the book it tells you how, that was just a lie.
Yeah, of course.
But there were people, designer handbags, and so you're thinking, well, how are they paying for this? They must be, they're saying they're selling loads of stock. They've got all these boxes of inventory. They're going out to deliver to their clients, and so you've got, because of the brainwashing, you had no reason to doubt it.
Yeah.
You believed it. You believe the dream, you buy into it. When you go to these success summits, you're there all day, or you're there for the weekend, and you are constantly being pumped.
Wow.
With brainwashing. With some people leave their partners.
Because of it?
Yeah. Because if their partners are not on board, they're seen as they're trying to damage your dream. They're not, they're basically they're trying to they're dream stealers. You're basically told, well, anyone who doesn't support you in your family or your circle of friends, what sort of people are they? Do you want them to be in your life? Do you want them? They're just jealous of you. They're holding you back. You need to sort of be surrounding yourself with people that are involved with True Visage, which is the company that that I was involved with. So what happens is then you kind of shun your friends and family. You push everyone that really loves you and that's trying to protect you away, because that's what you're told to do, and you're surrounding yourself with this circle of friends or family that's True Visage. So then who's going to leave? Because if you leave, what have you got? You've got no one.
And did they keep in touch like
every day, all
that's
the
the love
time,
bombing.
all the time? You're in groups. You're in loads of WhatsApp groups. You're in, you're in the Facebook group. You're constantly being told you've got to do all these tutorials. You've got to watch all these videos every week. I was going to St Albans for a weekly, like a mini version of a success summit, but it's there for recruiting and stuff, obviously, and to just keep pushing all this BS into your ears and into your brain. Then I was doing the weekly phone call, which is with my upline, her upline, and all the team. So you've got that every week. So
that's a full-time job.
It's all the time. You're told that if you're a mum and you've got kids, get a babysitter to look after your kids so you can focus on your business. Make sure your husband's pulling his weight at home so you can focus on, and if he's not pulling his weight, why is he not pulling his weight? Does he not support you? Is he not supporting your dream? And when you've got somebody telling you that, and say you're involved for 5 years.
Yeah. Wow.
Do you know what I mean? It's constant.
They must have been making money to be in it for 5 years. There has to be a living.
No, because I think that it gets to a point where they just keep believing that one day it will happen, and you're being told that it takes time. You've got to have faith. You've got you've got to be thinking positively. Any negative thoughts are you're not thinking positively enough. You're letting negativity seep in. That's why it's not doing well. So you're constantly being blamed. If it's failing, it's your fault. It's not their fault. It's not the fact that it's just a scam and it's a load of old rubbish. It's your fault for not believing in yourself enough. What are you doing wrong? You're not putting in enough hours.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? It's being turned on you all the time. You're being told to read certain books that are about positivity. And I stopped reading books that I enjoyed reading, and I was reading books like The Secret and about manifesting and about because that's what you were told that you needed to read. You needed to put that information in your brain to make you a success. Now, like I say, I had it for a reasonably short spell, but imagine having that for years and years and years.
What was your husband's take on it?
So I think my husband knew at the beginning, but because he's so amazing and he's such a brilliant husband, he wanted to just support me. He thought, you know what, she'll do it for a bit and then she'll get bored of it and she'll probably realise it's just...
Right.
But then I think he sensed that if he went against me, it could work against him. So he just kept saying, well, look, I know what you're doing, but maybe look for a job as well, or give it till Christmas. If it hasn't worked, then... So he was already putting kind of deadlines on it, and, but we had the savings, so he wasn't, he was just letting me do it because at the time when I was doing it, I was happy. He could see happiness. He could see that I was enthusiastic. He could see,
How long did that happiness last for?
It happened... God, when was the turning point? I started getting... I always had these little seeds growing inside my gut.
Could you talk to anyone about them seeds? Or
No, I couldn't. Because I was constantly posting on my Instagram...
Yeah.
How great is this? I'm working from home. Isn't it great to have the flexibility for me to see? Because you're trying to entice people. You're trying to recruit people. So you're constantly bullshitting. Excuse my phrase. My language.
And did you recruit many over?
I managed to recruit. Was it 4 people? I mean, obviously not including my husband. Obviously, I put him on so I could get the discounts and he could get the discounts on products. But I got 5 people. I got 5 people. I think it was 4 or 5 people, which kind of gets you on the first award, whatever that means. Because we had like necklaces. They were like, every MLM has something different. There's some cults. I say cults,
belt,
not MLMs.
Yellow belt and judo.
They'll have like sashes, or they'll have, I don't know, bracelets, or, at the end of the day, I often, there was times when I would think to myself, well, if I'm my own boss, why am I striving for this? I mean, it's it's supposedly my own business. So what does this necklace what is it? What does it represent? And it was, but they make it's like a pin title. You're aiming for that 1 million commission pin, which we were told people had received, at these success summits.
Wow. And so the seeds were there.
Yeah, there was always a niggle. Sometimes I'd lie in bed at night, just sort of staring at the ceiling, thinking, when is this going to kick off? When is this going to kick off? When, it just doesn't... There's something about it that's, when you have that gut instinct, and they always say follow your gut. But again, because that whole positivity thing and the whole manifesting thing, and it was constantly being pushed, you would quash that, you would suppress it and know that, right, tomorrow I'm going to be, this is what I'm going to do to try and get, my next recruit.
And getting out, was that easy? You literally just stopped, or
so after when we had the product launch or whatever at my house, I watched the documentary because my husband said, look, we should watch it, and my upline, Sarah, she was constantly telling me not to. Oh, we've been told not to watch it, we shouldn't watch it, we shouldn't give it any importance, any significance,
right?
And my husband was like, oh, no, we're going to watch it.
What was this? This was a program.
It was a documentary on the BBC
called
it was multi-level marketing.
Oh, it was just a generic one.
It was a documentary. Yeah. It was on BBC. It was either 1 or 2. It was on
But did Sarah, was she the one that brought you in?
Yeah. So Sarah was.
Okay. Yeah. So whoever brought you in is your
upline
manager,
basically.
Upline.
Okay. Then you're their downline.
Okay, so, and then you would have a downline.
And then I would have downlines, and then they would have downlines, and anyone below me is basically making me money, and then obviously my money trickles up onto the uplines, and then it works like that.
So she was telling people not to watch it.
We were being told by the powers that be that we shouldn't watch this documentary, but I planned on watching it.
Always,
I wanted to watch it because by then I was having doubts.
Yeah, fine.
And I really wanted to see what this documentary was about. So we watched it, and it says in the book, throughout the whole thing, Sarah was just talking away, being really negative about it, telling me that it was a load of old rubbish.
Yeah,
it was almost like she was watching something different from what I was seeing. I was seeing people I knew that we had seen in these success summits and part of our circle on this program being secretly filmed, saying what they were saying. It was there in my face. I was just seeing all the lies and all the tricks and all the schemes and the way they scammed you and it was just pouring out of the telly. And then I had sort of Sarah on this side telling me that it was a load of rubbish. So I had kind of and I was just staring at the TV in horror, just thinking.
So is this the secrets of the multi-level millionaires?
Is that that's the one. That's the one.
There we go.
So well done.
We know what we'll be watching this evening.
Yes, please watch it.
I will.
Please watch it.
I'm definitely going to.
Absolutely.
And that was the final.
I've watched it several times.
Have you?
Yeah.
That was the final nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
That was it.
I watched it then when I watched the first time, and then when I left, when I was alone at home, I watched it again on my own about 3 times, on repeat.
We've not been untouched by uplines and downlines.
No.
We've come across that.
Yeah, I've seen
over
it.
the last 9 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh.
And then you just informed Sarah.
So I'd bought my ticket to the Success Summit. That was 250 quid. I'd paid for flights to go out. I'd paid for the hotel that we were going to be staying at. So I had loads of stock that I had, and Sarah had booked to go and showcase at the local council. I think it was St Albans or somewhere, and set up a little pop-up stall in the cafeteria, and I'd already committed to that, and I needed to be a bit diplomatic about how I was going to do it and stuff. So it took about another week before I finally told her.
Okay. Was you nervous about delivering that? Or?
I was nervous because family.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was worried about because her stepdad is a really close cousin who now doesn't. He's passed away, sadly, but at the time he stopped talking to me. So I lost relationships because that's what happens. His loyalty was obviously with his wife and her.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And his wife stopped talking to me, and other cousins stopped talking to me. So you lose people.
Even though you were proven to be in the right.
No, it doesn't matter. They're so brainwashed. It's unbelievable. That's why people lose people. It's madness. It really is.
Do you think they'd react that way?
Well, I tried to contact her mum, but she got to her first, and then and then during the pandemic, the pandemic got you thinking a lot. People were dying, things were happening. So, and my cousin had been ill with cancer. So I reached out and said, look, I hope you guys are well. I hope you're all okay. I hope you're getting through this all right. I know what happened between me and Sarah wasn't great, but I kind of want to put that to bed and move on. I didn't get a response. So
that's a shame.
And then he died, so I didn't get to kind of make amends, but it is what it is.
And your emotional roller coaster, did it get to anger at that stage, or how quick did it get to anger?
I was angry with her massively.
Did you write the book with anger? Or was it, like you said, it was therapy?
Certain parts of it, I think, might be written with anger, certain bits of it. But, I mean, at the time, so many emotions. Like I say, more so just feeling like a fool, feeling like an idiot for having fell for it. When you watch the documentary and you're sitting there thinking, oh, my God, oh, my God, oh, my God, and you're watching it and it's just...
How long did the book take to write?
Did
it just flow out?
I'm trying to think back now because it feels like such a long time ago that I wrote it. It was easy. It flowed because it flows as the story as it all happened.
It's a narrative.
So it was easy. I didn't find it hard to write. And I was unemployed at the time when I was writing it. So it was before I then got re-employed. So I was, it was just, I felt it was easy to write. And obviously I've gone back and read it and tweaked a few bits, but it was easy to write. But yeah, there was anger.
Yeah, no, I bet.
Frustration, loads of stuff like that. I wish I'd never done it. Regret, that kind of stuff. But yeah.
And the process of getting something published. I mean, I've not. Your sister has. She's gone.
She has.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah, she was once. She used to be a teacher in England.
Okay.
And her school down in Kent was known as Colditz Academy, because she had fairly before Catherine Birbal Singh. She was regarded as the strictest teacher in the UK.
Oh, love it! I love strict teachers.
She sent 45 kids home on the first day of the first term of a new academy, and then the community was up in arms. And
they're the teachers you remember, though.
Well,
they're the best ones.
She ended up turning the school around. Ended up going from like 20-something% to sort of 70-something on the attainment scales.
Oh, excellent.
But then the parents got too much for her because
it's not an easy job.
The governors are fine, the kids are fine, everyone's fine except the parents who don't support you. So she wandered, and she now teaches in a school in Mallorca.
Wow.
But she wrote a book about her experiences.
Great stuff.
And so she's popped up on Ian Dale and a few others to celebrate. I can't remember what's it called. It's
good for her.
I should probably know that. I think because originally it was going to be called something like Those. Because my dad was a bit of an arse sometimes, and he used to say, "Those who can do, those who can't teach."
Yeah.
Right, and I think she called it "Those Who Can" or something like that, as a kind of a bit of a
really?
Look back to my dad.
From your dad, that's
nice.
Yeah, because he was, unless you're in the private sector and you're making money.
That's used in an advert, isn't it, for recruiting teachers?
Yeah. Well, I think they flip it now and they say, those who can teach. As opposed to those who can't. But, as you say, everybody's got a positive experience. I mean, we can all remember the 3 or 4 teachers that changed the way we looked at things.
And one of the best ones for me was one of the strictest ones. She was brilliant.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it's like now, but I mean, this, as I say, Birbal Singh and that is if she was the education minister, you'd have half a chance in this country. But when her ideas are being constantly kicked back on, you think, where have we got to?
Well, during the pandemic, I was furloughed from my role at work, and then I lost my job because of the 3 days before the government did that U-turn to extend the furlough, I lost my job. Thanks. And so I ended up getting a job as an EA to a principal at a school, a secondary school.
Oh, right.
I say secondary school, it was called an academy. And I hadn't been in a school since I was at school. And when I went in, it was like I was on an alien planet. I was like, what's all this? How are they getting away with that?
What, as in the kids?
The kids, and what the teachers can and can't do anymore.
Yeah,
and it was just unbelievable. I felt so almost out of my comfort zone.
No, I get it. I kind of experienced. I went to an academy for the Jane Goodall stuff, and it felt like that. Like a different world.
It's a different world compared to what it was when I was at school. Anyway, but
it was just so much more stricter. And then
so much more.
There was teachers like walking past fist pumping some of the kids. You think that
really?
Just would never ever have happened ever.
Well, for the record, my sister Alison Colwell, her book is called No Excuses. So that
excellent.
And it was her birthday on Monday. So if you're watching, happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
What was her journey? Did she have someone approach her, or did she write it and then? Because you wrote it and then
I wrote the book and then I kept it not hidden, but I didn't do anything with it because I was, again, there was that sense of shame. I didn't want anyone to know, and I just thought, well, do I want to put this out there and people know? And so I just saved it. And in fact, I thought I deleted it. And it wasn't until last year at work, it was a slow day and I had my laptop. I was just going through some of my own personal admin and I found it. And it wasn't called The Toxic Boss Babe, by the way. It was a different title.
Who gave it that title?
I got it. I changed the title, but I'm glad I did actually. Because it was originally going to be called Beauty and the Cult, but then I didn't want people to think I meant beauty as in me, because I didn't want people to think, well, she's given herself a bit of gravitas there, she thinks she is. But I meant as in beauty, as in the beauty. I meant as in the beauty, the MLM kind of thing, not me. But then I thought, no, that wasn't a good enough title. I didn't think so. I changed it, and then I sent it out, and I knew, because I'm a nobody. Let's face it, I'm not royalty. I'm not somebody who's a celebrity. I knew certain publishing houses were not going to touch me. Without an agent, it's so hard to get.
Really?
You can't. Some publishers won't even take people submitting books if they're not with an agent or they're not already.
Right.
The big massive publishing houses. It's hard. It's really, really. You've got to think how many people write books and how many people. There's hundreds and hundreds.
You're constantly told everyone's got a book in them, and you should write about what
and they're not going to read all of them. Yeah. So I targeted more the kind of independent, indie, smaller publishing houses.
But you went with a finished product, right? Because I remember that. I think my sister.
Yeah, I had a finished product.
I think my sister went with a single chapter.
Yeah, sometimes you only need a couple of chapters.
She thought, I'm not sure. Do you think there's any mileage in this? And whoever she approached said, blimey, yeah. And off she went.
They want a good synopsis and they want a couple of chapters at least. Right. But I had the full book.
Okay.
So I sent it off, and a couple come back saying, some didn't even reply. So thanks. And then one phoned me and said, yeah, I like the sound of this, and it could go under our memoir, section. We're launching a new little tributary memoir, and then it just went on from there. So written in 2019, and now I'm like holding it in my hand.
That's pretty cool.
It's really weird.
Yeah. It's straight to paperback.
Yeah, paperback. I don't think I'd get hardback on my. I mean, it's tiny. It's not. It's only a snippet of my life. It's not my whole life.
It depends on the.
If it was an autobiography, it would be massive.
Yeah. You could font it up.
Yeah,
How is it being distributed at the moment?
So at the moment, it's on the publisher's website. It's Amazon, Waterstones, Foyles, and Barnes and Noble in America.
Right.
It's an ebook as well. You can get it. So distribution worldwide, because if it's on Amazon, so you can get it anywhere really.
But have you done the audio book yet?
Oh, I don't think there'll be an audio book. If it kind of kicks off, you never know.
Yeah.
It could be.
You know what? I see it as I'm not going to say because I'm not going to talk it down. I've talked it down quite a bit actually, and I just think it's just my story. But the more I see it in my hand, the more proud I feel. I'm proud that I've written this, and I'm proud it's out there. And as I said yesterday when I made a little video for my Instagram, if it helps just one person, one person reads this and they can take comfort from it, or they're thinking about getting involved in an MLM and they read this and think, if it helps just one person, then as far as I'm concerned, I've nailed it. I'm happy with it. So that's it.
Well, we all think we can do it, and very few you do it. So so congratulations.
Yeah, I need to. My sister keeps saying you need to stop dumbing it down. It's you've done really well.
Have you got anything lined up for radio or TV appearances? No, I'm not joking.
Not yet.
Because I remember Alison went on Good Morning with Phil and Holly at the time.
Oh, God.
And then Ian Dale's had her back a few times.
Oh, good. I don't know.
Maybe you should push yourself.
My thing is, you know what? If I get a phone call from Netflix or the BBC, even Channel 5.
I'll tell you, straight to streaming platform.
I'm telling you.
Well, Megan did it, so why not you?
Why shouldn't I? Yeah, why shouldn't I think that? So yeah, you never know. If I do get that, then I'll let you guys know and say, you know what, that manifesting stuff actually does work.
Does the publishers help with getting it out there?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
okay.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't have an agent. I mean, again,
Fine.
I'm not, who am I? I'm no one. So, but they will push it. They will get it out there. So, and I think it might be a slow burner. It might, there are books that are out there for years, and then all of a sudden somebody discovers it and wants to make it into a feature length, kind of mini-series or whatever, there's loads. So
is there any other books on multi-level selling out then, similar to this?
There are some more kind of about stats, figures, things like that. Maybe not necessarily a story. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. They may well be. Maybe mine's one of the first ones. Who knows?
Very good.
So yeah, at the end of the day, I didn't want to do it. I was scared, and I didn't want to put myself out there because you feel vulnerable. You're telling somebody about quite personal things and how you feel personally. But I'm glad I've done it. I've done it, and I hope it helps someone.
And you're working now as well. So
I'm working at the moment. Yeah,
fine. Okay,
part time.
So this isn't the full time career.
No, it's not a full time gig. I've kind of started on a different type of book, more a story.
I was going to say the difficult second album. What's the next?
Hopefully not another scammed book. Can you imagine?
What do you think the next one might be?
Well, the other one's
life story.
No, the other one's going to be a sort of fictional story, kind of based a little bit on my time a few years ago working in retail, but I'm making it into a story, a bit of a love story, that kind of thing. That didn't happen. Was a pity. But yeah, it's something a bit different.
Set
a bit
in
more.
Italy?
No, set here, not set in Italy. No. Set. Oh God, can you imagine? Wouldn't it be lovely to go and write a book somewhere like Sicily and do it there? Like what's her name? J.K. Rowling went to Edinburgh and did her Harry Potter.
Well, she was living up there, but Peter Mayle famously dropped out of marketing and went to live in the south of France, and hence A Year in Provence, and a million copies later, off he went. You
just don't know, do you? You don't know. At the end of the day, it's there, it's out.
I do think it just takes one or two people to read it, strike a chord, because themes of guilt, embarrassment, shame, opportunity, regret.
Yeah,
most novels have those.
It's under memoir. I think it's under business. I don't know whether they've put it under the lifestyle genre in the bookshop or not. I'm not sure, but yeah. So it's out there. I've lost my thread. I was going to say something else.
No, we were talking about your potential, the hard second book, and you kind of touched on where that was possibly going to go, which was going to be a bit of romance interwoven into retail.
I've done a couple of chapters. So
different
we'll
experience,
see.
right?
It's a different
more
experience.
Enjoyable.
Yeah, much more. And you've got a bit more freedom. Again, I had to I stuck to facts here, and it was a timeline and stuff like that. This is a little bit more light-hearted and stuff.
So that's a much more sort of start, middle, finish.
Yeah. So. Okay. So yeah.
Does it leave the reader wanting more, or is it very much a closed book?
It ends on a more positive note, because already by then I was out, and and then I added a chapter of 2024, obviously, just to bring it into the current time. So yeah, like I say, it's small but mighty.
How long did it take for it to actually be launched from signing with the publisher?
So I think I sent it out to them. It was either September, October last year.
Oh, right, okay.
So it happened quite quick.
And today's the day.
Yeah, today's the day. And I've already had people. My sister said when I opened the envelope, she said, "Did you cry when you saw your book?" And I went, "No, I didn't cry." I said, "It was a bit emotional, obviously, but I said I didn't cry." She goes, "Did it feel weird?" I went, "No." I said, "But you know what feels really weird? People asking me to sign it."
Yeah.
I said, "I can't, that just feels really cringe to me." I just, people have been saying, "Oh, you're going to sign my book?" And I'm like, I don't want to sign it.
Did you pick the cover as well? Or?
So, yeah, the cover was designed. The cover. So the cover was designed, and initially I didn't like the image that was used. I couldn't get my head around it. It was like there was kind of this blue smoke, and it looked like she was vaping. And I thought I don't know what that means or what that symbolises, but I didn't want to offend the artist. You need to be, So then they put the image on the back at the top. And I said to the publisher, I still can't get my head around that blue smoke. I said, every time I look at it, all I'm seeing is this blue smoke. I don't know what it means or what it symbolises. And they did try to explain it. And I said, "Look, just keep this." I said, "I'm happy with this." What
was the explanation for
it?
Blue
Was
smoke?
like she was in a kind of confused state. It was the confusion, the smoke, and then it lifts, that kind of. But I couldn't. All I could see was this blue smoke, and it just. That's where my eye, But I picked the colours. I like the yellow and the pink. It pops when you see it. If you see it in a bookshop window, that colours.
That's nice.
It's going to pop. I didn't want it to be boring colours that were going to just fade into the background. And then obviously you've got the pyramid which symbolises.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing you think when you see the cover, isn't it?
And then that kind of sort of phased bit there, which I like. So I'm really pleased with it. I'm dead chuffed with it. I'm really happy with it. Yeah.
And have they sort of indicated how many they've printed? 10,000 first run?
No idea. I have
if they're putting it on Amazon, they must have it in their distribution centres.
I mean, I guess I'm just. Today's the day it's gone out. I'm not, I don't think I'm even at that stage yet. I'm just at people telling me, I've got it, I'm reading it, it's good, I'm reading, oh God, wow, it's good, I'm still getting those messages. So I
wonder how long it takes for you to start finding out sales numbers.
No idea.
That's pretty good. That's exciting.
I'm excited. I am excited.
You can normally see it, can't you,
I'm
on
getting
Amazon?
a great, kind of response as well. So I'm, I don't know. It's still early. It's early days. So like I say, it could be a bit of a slow burner. Who knows?
Cool.
But it's out there, and as my husband keeps saying, you've got a book. You've got a book. Not many people can say they've got a book. So, and I keep saying, yeah, you're right. I have got, I have got a book and it's published. So I'm dead chuffed.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah,
all the best.
Well, your sales just...
Is it just one?
Went up by one. I just bought a copy. So
I'm glad people aren't using Amazon in a way.
There you go. Well, wish you all the best.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Good.
Thank you.
It was all right. Great.
It's always hard to talk about these sort of things, but you kind of made it.
No, you need to get it out there as well. So
thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank
you very much.
Order placed.
You guys.
It is interesting because because I've had so many people wrapped up in similar. I thought, let's see what this one's all about. And I think from the inside out, it's probably a better read as well. Because all the time you're concerned family member going, really? You're not really aware of what.
Yeah,
of how
and this could be happening to somebody in your family, and if you read that book and you see the signs,
Yeah. Well, no, you can read it and give us your opinion on it.
Yeah, be kind.
Well, we do. You've come to us in a state of transition between Office A and Office B, but we did have a little library area in the old place.
Well, you've got shelves there. Maybe mine can be the first one.
That was.
Christen it with my book.
2 or 3 of those boxes have got about 50 to 100 books that we kind of just have lying around that we recommend to people. So maybe we should.
Yeah,
we'll have a book corner.
There you go.
Yeah. Pop my book on there. Make sure you put a big poster or something, great big arrow.
Big
or
arrow
something.
point.
Yeah.
The only reason I asked about the hardback is I genuinely quite like books, but I prefer, as a rule, a hardback.
Yeah, my sister's like that.
Because you're sitting in it. We can all do it on the Kindle or what have you, or even the audio, as we said. But I actually quite like, you go on holiday and you got
a hardback book with you on holiday.
I'll take 3.
Wow, you're such
Churns through it.
No, I do about three a week if I go on holiday.
Yeah, but hardback, really?
Yeah, really.
Light on the way back.
You leave the books there.
Just leave them, swap it out.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Appreciate it. Thank you.